On Sunday, we ended up getting JACKBOYS 2, which I think was an album a lot of us were waiting for this summer. This group and Travis Scott, I think, just wanted to avoid dropping on the same day as Justin Bieber's Swag album, which I also really enjoyed that project. But we're going to go ahead, dive into this JACKBOYS 2 project that has a lot of features. We're going to go through it in order, review it, break it down, tier list style, as we always do here on the channel. Before we jump into that, like, comment, and subscribe to both of my channels. Join the Frosty Flock Discord. Also follow me over on Twitch. I'm going live over there a lot more, so join me.
Can't nobody pop it like I do, pop it to a drop like.
But yeah, we got all the tracks in order. It doesn't have the JACKBOYS 2 radio intro, but right away you could tell that this is going to be, I guess, the theme of the project, and you are going to be looking at 17 tracks this time around and not like 7 for the sequel project to JACKBOYS. Champagne and Vacay is going to be a high A tier for me. We honestly didn't get too much Don Toliver and Travis Scott. I wish we got more of that on the album, but this will do because Travis absolutely had me floating on the intro. This is the chemistry I wanted between the two because Don Toliver was also sounding very nice. Someone's got to tell me who was yelling the ad-libs. There was a lot of extra stuff being thrown at you, so I don't know if you guys like that. It was reminiscent of Swamp Izzo, but probably not as good. But that song is definitely an A tier and has room to grow up to S tier. I'm a big fan of that. 2000 Excursion, I finally heard this track. Travis starts it off pretty nice. I won't lie, because of Sheck Wes's kind of part being a downgrade with that talking flow he did, it might have to be the top of B tier. Don Toliver, when you give him a little hook like that, he's gonna come through, he's gonna kill it every single time. I guess I really didn't expect that kind of slowed late night feel that the synth and then the humming and everything gave me at the end of the track. That like outro and second half was pretty nice, so I gotta give that part credit. It is kind of one of the only tracks with those drums. I'm gonna leave it at B for now. I might move it up, we'll see when we get going with the tier list later on, because I will say I prefer mainly the first half of the album over the second, so you know it's gonna be some competition here for the next few tracks. Kick Out is the energy and the beat and everything I wanted from Travis. Now this was one of the snippets I wanted, so I am biased because we did kind of hear the first part of this track. They were teasing 21 Savage like crazy on the ad-libs. That like woo ad-lib that like is super repetitive throughout the track is panning around is so good in this track. That's part of the reason why I gotta move it up there. I think this is gonna be one of my most played as well, so that's why I gotta reward Kick Out. Overall, we did get a lot of Travis on this project, and I think you gotta give him credit for snapping on most of his performances. Now we have Dumbo, which is the next track, which I think I also want to give A tier. He's been doing some different stuff with his voice. It's like different pitches or different presets in the auto-tune maybe. The way he goes back and forth with that is really cool. I just think She Going Dummy is super catchy. There's a lot of little bits and pieces of this track I like because there's a whole nother like melodic side to Travis that when he did that a couple times on JACKBOYS 2, it worked in my opinion. Dummy just has a strange beat. It's one of my favorite flows. I think he also just did a music video to this one, and I feel like I've played it more than Champagne and Vacay the first couple days I guess this product has been out, so I will put that at the top of A tier. And then we got MM3 from Sofaygo. He gets his own solo moment on JACKBOYS, which was pretty cool in my opinion. I'll put it right there in B tier, which in my opinion B tier, by the way guys, is good. Like I'm playing this back, you know, a good amount and definitely enjoying it on the album. But for Fago with Hold the Fire, that is one of my favorite songs this year in rap for sure. I've been playing that back a ton. He's all the way back with his placements on JACKBOYS 2. That Because da flow he did a couple times was really nice. The bass was hitting. It's JACKBOYS 2. Of course, a lot of the songs are going to be, you know, awesome in the car, and I feel like this is very tolerable Sofaygo for like the mainstream audience or for like your average listener, you know. Then track 7 is Velour, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm going to put that, I guess, at the back of B tier so far. This is Don Toliver and Sheck Wes, which I will say Sheck Wes did, I guess, maybe his best on any song on this track. I swear though, this song samples Kanye West Wolves. I just keep on hearing that in the background of the beat, and I feel like most of the production on this album was pretty solid. I don't really see people talking about it. I feel like it didn't really do anything wrong on this project, and those short Don Toliver tracks on this project were also kind of key because he comes through, he does this thing, and they were just nice little album cuts, you know. Track 8 Contest is crazy. I gotta put this one in S tier. Thank God we got Sofaygo Sofaygo twice. Travis on a rage beat in 2025 is crazy, but you know what? I'm gonna work with it. He's courtside hitting the riff with a tech. Like, that's actually a fire chorus. He's been winning his whole life. It's like motivational. I feel like this could go with like sports edits. And then Faygo once again did exactly what we needed him to do on his verse. He doesn't even have to like do too much lyrically and everything like that on the verses. We've just been waiting for this collab for so long. All the Faygo fans who thought he disappeared for years finally got what we wanted with the Travis collab, recognizing him and reposting him and putting him on JACKBOYS and giving him those Don Toliver collabs and everything he's, you know, needed promotion wise and all of that. The last few years, it's starting to pay off. We can retire the memes. We can retire a lot of the slander. It's been a good year for Sofaygo, and he needs to definitely ride up on this momentum. Contest, easily one of my favorite tracks on this project though. And then ILMB did end up making it on the project as a single, which I realized when we listen to the album, I have to put this towards the back of B because it's caught on a little bit because yes, it is a little bit repetitive. Sheck West has done better. There's a couple bars I obviously don't like. Travis actually does the best on this track. I just agree with my friend when we were listening to this song in the car, it does get old quick, or if it plays when you don't really want to hear it, then it kind of gets old quick. I think it probably was better off not being a single, and then probably just could have heard it on the album and it would have been better, or it would have been like a fresh song right now. I would have respected it, but instead for me it kind of takes up a little bit of space on the album, but it's just barely in the B tier for me. Let me know what you guys think of this song. I honestly didn't see too many people talk about it, but it kind of was the only single, I guess. But we're on to the second half of the album. We get surprised with this very interesting filthy beat, which I was excited to hear that tag, but it's got a weird string instrument on it. And Cardi, he is a surprise feature, and honestly I'm proud of him for being one of my favorite features on the album. He was actually my favorite on this track. I've been critical of some of his collabs, I guess, recently or on his album I Am Music. Took a jet to Mexico. I don't know, it's just catchy. He rides the boat right there, and Travis does his thing, I guess you could say. It also has Future. We've seen a few tracks from, you know, I guess this trio in the last year, but I gotta say this is like way better than Charge Them Hoes a Fee because I hated that song. It's always been a skip from the beginning from me, and this is a lot better. I will say Where Was You, one of my favorite tracks on the album that I'm going back to. It's really close with Champagne and Vacay because that might be a little better because Where Was You, could you say it drags on like a little bit? That kind of holds it back from just being, you know, an S tier, and now that's why that has to be an A tier because I really like Dumbo, and I think that's, yeah, where I want to put it right now. That makes sense. And then we got No Comments, which is pretty sneaky good. I think it is the shortest track on the album, and I think I just have to put it right there at B. It's pretty close right there to the middle of B. I actually rate this song though. Definitely respect the synth. There's beats on this album that I definitely also respect, and I think, again, the production wasn't innovative by any means. This album also could have came out like a couple years ago if it wanted to, but it's here, and I think it was, you know, polished, and there wasn't too many moments where I was like bored or, you know, disagreed with the production or anything. But No Comments is, I guess, a non-complex, just Don Toliver song, and yeah, I liked it, and it's a good album cut, so I'll put it right there in B. Okay, you know what? Beep Beep, especially after today, I've been playing it a lot. I think it sounds like a So Much Fun song from Young Thug's album, and it's good for the summer right now. I'm gonna just slide that up in A. It's a really good moment for Saw Baby as well. I was glad he was, you know, sent a Lambo just like all the other features were, and invited as a guest on this project, and it makes sense why Travis, I guess, was going, the phone was beeping. I guess, you know, it catches on. But once again, Travis does good and sets up a lot of these choruses well. Saw Baby, he's talking about making the hoes migrate to him. You know what? It's just a fun track, and I think this has to be one of the better ones on here. I was really excited to, you know, see that collab just like I was for Where Were You and the Sofaygo stuff. Now, PBT is the most controversial song on the album. It's the only one that I guess sounds like this. To me, this has that island vibe. It has those kind of drums in it, and I think this is a better song, and it worked out better. It's more polished, I guess. It's more true to its sound than K-pop when he did that as a single on Utopia. I think PBT actually is pretty decent. I don't know if I'm going to be playing it back as much as most of these tracks on the album, but I think I'll put it right in between those Don Toliver songs. That's fair because I actually will defend this track, and what Travis was also, I guess, kind of singing on the song alongside Tyla. That was a cool guest. I haven't really listened to her. I don't know if I can defend the Vibes Cartel part and what they were trying to do, I guess, on this section of the album. I was praying it wasn't going to get like too unserious or turn into the Carter 6 at this point on the album, but I was just in the Florida Keys, and you know what? I could get down to a little bit of this, or you know what? I heard a lot of Bob Marley every day and shit, so I guess I wasn't like completely lost. Shine is gonna have to go in C tier, and it's lucky that I don't have to put it lower because we all know it happens in this track multiple times for some reason. Wiggly wobbly, wiggly wobbly, wiggly wobbly. Like, who is saying that? Why does it happen? Is it really Travis saying that? I don't know who thought that was a good idea and then followed up with the Glorilla verse. She's so hit or miss on her features for me. Like, she was really bad on that Jello track and a couple others. Now she's good on Tyler Creator's Sticky, and you know what? She was tolerable here. Although we did have that Amber Alert bar, which was pretty gross. I just don't think I can do it, and I just can't hear that wiggly wobbly like come back in at the end of the song. It's just too laughable, and yeah, it's kind of like one of my only skips on the project. But the project bounces back pretty quick with Outside, another pretty solid Travis performance right here, which I know a lot of this album is just Travis featuring somebody else or a couple other artists, or him trying a couple different styles with his voice, or things like PBT, you know, a couple beats like that, which yes, I wanted those collaborative efforts a little bit. But you get NBA Youngboy on this track, and his part's really rewarding after he stops mumbling, you know, the first few lines. He's actually a pretty decent feature artist after these last few years, isn't he? So a good welcome back for him. Being on a mainstream project is kind of cool because I don't really see that, you know, too often from him, and maybe more people are going to start doing that because I know a lot of rappers are a fan of Youngboy, and he has a lot of cult fans, obviously, and Outside ended up being one of the best tracks. I still think JACKBOYS 2 could have used an Uzi or a Young Thug feature, but Youngboy will do. Track 16 is Can't Stop. I know I haven't said too many of the track like numbers. I'm really bad with that on tier list. My bad. I gotta keep remembering to do that. I think it just has to go towards the bottom of B tier, which really isn't a bad thing because Future and then Wally the Sensei kind of introduces himself, and they're not really that bad. They're kind of melodic. It's another string instrument type of beat. It's kind of laid back. Don Toliver's nice on this as well. You get to hear him a couple of times. It's very different than his Hardstone Psycho, you know, style that he had a year ago. A lot of his stuff was, I guess, better produced and kind of on another level thematically and sound wise and everything from Don Toliver. He was kind of a different rapper than he was. Kind of just used a little bit on JACKBOYS 2. Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't see him a little more, but maybe that's because Travis took over a little bit. So yeah, songs like this are nice. They're cool album cuts, but it's not generational. And looking back, it does make sense that I have the most in B tier because the album gives a little bit of that energy. But that's not worth the hate in my opinion. I think people go over the top with hate comments, or, you know, I think people set their expectations extremely high for a lot of stuff with a lot of music dropping nowadays. Track 17, which honestly I think it's good they didn't really do too many more than that. We get Florida Flow. It's got a low kind of voice to it. I don't see myself really going back to it a ton, but I'll just put it right there, I guess, also in B. Definitely behind No Comments and maybe even PBT. That might even make sense, I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I'm not a fan of Travis doing a little too much now with the deep voice or going back and forth trying to ad-lib himself. You get Kodak, which when he's like on point or, you know, is sober enough or whatever it is, he actually is pretty good on some features. And JACKBOY just made a lot of trap anthems, strip club anthems, just fun stuff to throw money to. They're talking about being global. The song is a cool long outro, I guess, that I'm not really like mad at. Kind of sounds like some plug and B shit with the piano. That's kind of my tier list. I think I'm pretty happy with what's on my screen. Let me know, you know, how I did, and definitely comment below what you guys are going to be rating these songs on each tier, or let me know what your favorite songs are at least.
I've been winning all my life, it ain't no contest.
For my overall album rating, I'm going to pull up the tier list as I do for all of my reviews here on the channel. I'm going to go ahead and put Travis Scott and JACKBOYS 2 collaborative project in the good tier, and it does have room to just slightly move up because it is a pretty solid, you know, 16 out of 17 saved song project. But yeah, thank you guys for all the support to the end of this video. We're on the grind this summer. Follow me over on Twitter and Instagram. Another good review in the books. Definitely join the Frosty Flock Discord. Join the Twitch as well. We've been going crazy. More videos are on the way. I definitely love you guys. You guys are amazing. I love the Frosty Flock. I'll miss you. I'll catch you soon. Peace.